In a world where there are too many comic books to keep up with, one podcast has the stones to bring you all of your comic book needs. Week by week. Book by book. One epic show. You are now tuned in to Nerd Church Radio.
Hello and welcome to Nerd Church Radio DC Communion, episode number 15. I am your carnivorous reptilian man-beast, Ben Dupé.
This is Noah O'Toole.
I'm the man-beast's wife, I guess, Erica Dupé.
You guys read that in Suicide Squad this week? Yeah. Where Emerald Empress was like,
oh, yeah.
You're back, my carnivorous reptilian man-beast.
Yeah.
It's just so great, man. There's so much silliness in the books this week. I loved it. So yeah, we're DC comic fan podcast. That's what Nerd Church Radio is. We're talking about the more silly books of the week this week. Generally, we do the monthly releases on this show, with the exception of like Wonder Woman and stuff. So, how you doing this week, man?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm a little bit in a Zen moment right now because today's last day class and everything's turned in, and I just kind of...
Is it? Because I have class next week.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
That you go to, though, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Online classes end
one
a week.
Project.
Online classes end a week earlier than the ones you go to. So, my last project was due, and I just kind of... I mean, I'm happy with it, but I decided that I couldn't keep stressing about it. I had to just, turn it in and accept what comes,
Exactly,
accept my fate, exactly. So.
I'm working on my last project, and I am doing it all in the span of like 5 hours tomorrow. And I've just blocked off 5 hours of time. I'm going to knock it all out. It's just
honestly,
an email.
I do a lot of my work in bulks like that, and it just works. Sometimes you just need to churn it out. You know what I mean?
I work good under pressure.
Yeah.
It's just an email campaign. I just have to get on MailChimp and make like an email campaign, and I have to make a Facebook page. It's like we make like an event, so I'm doing like an Airbnb event, and it's like you make an email to go out to the people, then you make like a Facebook page for the event, a form for them to fill out, and then another email to welcome them or confirm their registration. So it should be pretty easy. It's all like templates you fill out online and stuff. Yeah. So you're glad to be done with school.
Yep.
Then?
So I'm glad for now, but of course fall's gonna set a whole new set of problems. But I'm honestly trying to just like not think about that too much and have the next 3 weeks be summer, you know what I mean? Because
have it be fun.
After that, it's gone. So.
Yeah, the next 3 weeks are going to be chill, man. We're going to be moving in 4 weeks. Oh God, I guess we are packing. Yeah, we're packing.
I have a list of.
I'm trying to take the next 3 weeks to decompress. I know I'll be packing a little bit, but I started Arkham Knight again. Yeah, I want to play that game to 100% completion. I want to like finish it. So I've never done that with a game before, but I'm going to try to this time.
Yeah, that's a daunting one to to do. Just, I mean, a lot of it I got, but some of it I was like, okay, nope, I've played my fill. I got all the stories. I'm like those Riddler trophies and some of the other things. Boy, that's
I'm
tedious.
Try it. Joel Gal from Glitch Therapy, his 21-year-old daughter did it. She played to 100% completion.
Wow.
So if she can do it, I can do it.
Sure.
I gotta try. Yeah, I gotta try it. So yeah, that's like a bucket list thing. I've never played a game to 100% completion like that, so I really want to. So yeah, I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna pack up. We're gonna have a garage sale over here too.
Cool.
So yeah,
listeners, there's lots of comic book t-shirts that are going away.
A lot of that stuff. Yeah, if you have any stuff you want to come over and sell in the garage sale too, you're welcome to. Right. We're going to tell everyone. But we're going to have a packing party and a moving party. And
we'll provide pizza.
I say it's a party just to make it sound fun.
To make it sound enjoyable, right? It entices people to come.
I freaking hate moving so much. Gosh. All right, so yeah, why don't we move on to some news this week? All right, so news this week. Why don't you go first, punk rock princess?
Okay. So the world may know the hero that Supergirl became that way under Superman's wing. But what if she was raised as Jim Gordon's daughter? That was weird. I just heard myself. In the future, Batgirl's sister. We're about to find out thanks to Gotham City Garage, an American wasteland inhabited by DC's younger generation of heroes, surviving on motorcycles and rebellion. So it's like Super Kids meet Mad Max. And it's going to be delivered in digital form.
So it's not a print?
No, it's not, but it's really exciting.
It could go to that. With the bombshells, DC bombshells, that for the first year was digital for 6 months, and then they released them on... Yeah,
and then it became like this big like, cult following thing or whatever. That's like Iowa's claim to fame in comic books. So, that's pretty cool. Yep.
And the writers are Jackson Lansing and Colin Kelly, which do we know anything they've done?
That doesn't ring a bell just off the top of my head. But
I'm pretty excited. I love like apocalyptic stuff. So
right. It'll be interesting. That's for sure.
Supergirl has Jim Gordon's daughter. I don't know how that's gonna work.
Yeah, I mean that's interesting.
That's really weird. Like how is she Kryptonian then?
I'm guessing that instead of being adopted by
whoever,
she's going to be adopted by.
That makes much more sense.
Gordon after she crashes and crashes in Gotham instead of Metropolis. And
wow,
I was trying to think.
He's going to marry a Kryptonian woman, and
I didn't know if like she came to Earth for a while and it's like a Star-Lord situation with his mom or something. I don't know, but. Yeah, that's cool. I dig it. Maybe we'll get review copies for that. I don't know. They're iffy sometimes if they give us, So
it's kind of an alt Red Sun take, a Mad Max Red Sun type thing.
It's kind of cool, though.
Yeah, totally.
And the statue, you guys would like this because she's, like, tatted up.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, that is cool. It is cool.
And then, this isn't DC, but it's exciting. Todd McFarlane's redoing Spawn.
The movie.
I thought it was a comic.
No, Todd McFarlane's making a Spawn movie. I don't know about the comic.
Maybe it is just.
I'm not sure either way. But either way, whether it's a comic or a movie or both, that makes me pretty excited.
Yeah.
But also kind of disappointed. We were actually talking at work today. I work part time in an antique store, and every once in a while we get comic books, and nothing ever of any value. It's always stuff from the '90s, or whatever. But we talked about. I was saying I remember the first time I spent more than face value on a comic book, and I bought Spawn #9, which was the first appearance of Angela.
Oh, okay.
And I spent $10 on it when I was in high school, and I was so nervous that my parents would see the sticker on it, and I'd get in trouble for wasting $10 on a comic book or whatever, and stuff. But it cracks me up. But now, unfortunately, it's probably worth about $10 now because it was just printed so much. It went up there for a little bit. The '90s, kind of had some weird ups and downs with their comics and Batgirl things or whatever. But now Angela's with Marvel. So
that's interesting.
Spawn might be missing an angel.
Yeah, it's interesting because like Image Comics had a big thing in the '90s where they were like rock stars. I mean, like
DC and Marvel were just. I mean, even me, super Wonder Woman fan. I mean, like I didn't really care about her in the '90s. I didn't care about.
Well, they treated the artists and writers really badly.
Well, that too, but I mean, they just seemed uncool. And maybe it was my age, but they just all seemed uncool. And it wasn't until, it was like the Spawn and the blood, just all that stuff that really...
Satanic versions.
Yeah, exactly. That spiked a teenage boy's attention to like, I want to read this, so I don't know. But.
Well, Spawn #1 used to cost like $120.
For sure.
I mean...
It still could.
Or more. Well, now you can get it for like $20.
Oh, can you?
Yeah, I mean, because they just... The reason is they printed so many of them. Right, I mean, that's the point where comic books became so huge. People were waiting outside of comic book stores saying they were going to buy this and pay for their college education with it or something.
The death of Superman. People were just convinced that this was going to pay for their kids' college fund.
Yeah. And then they started...
And we have 3 of them at the antique store if anybody would like for $1 a piece.
I have one, too.
I know. I got 2.
I have the sealed one that has like a wristband inside of it.
You have the armband in it and stuff. Yeah.
Can you imagine the disappointment?
Right.
Oh, my God.
Well, and that's the thing is like they got so popular that the bubble popped. Like they started printing way too many of them.
Well, they started making collector's editions.
Yeah.
You don't make collector's editions.
No,
you know what I mean? It's an oxymoron, kind of, because for it to be a collector's thing, it has to be rare.
Unique,
And
Well, and the whole concept of variant covers is kind of like a Ponzi scheme.
It is.
Like, it's just a total scam. Like, there's no...
And yet you get them all the time.
I do too, though,
The
sometimes.
only reason... But I don't ever buy them because I think they'll be worth more money. I did when I first started collecting because I didn't know better. But now I just buy them based on like what I think looks cool.
If there's an artist that I'm particularly fond of that does a variant cover, I may spend a little money just because I want that in my collection. Or
exactly. Yeah, I will definitely buy something if it's like, Scotty Young did this cover, because his covers are always super fun. There's an Infinity Gauntlet one where, do you remember the Infinity Gauntlet cover showing Thanos on the front saying, "Come and get me"? He did one of a baby Thanos, and it says, "Come at me, bro." It's just like the coolest. Like that stuff is like super fun. I love to buy that stuff. So, that's Supergirl thing sounds fun though. Yeah. So, do you have any news now?
I don't. No.
Okay, that's cool. I got one piece of news and one listener comment. So, first piece of news, or only piece of news I have, I've talked about it in Glitch Therapy. I talked about it in DC Mass, but I did want to get y'all's take on it. WB's next Batman game and what we know so far about it. So they said after Arkham Knight they weren't going to make any more Batman games, and they made Arkham VR. And now the former WB employee has taken to Reddit and sort of said some stuff. Maybe that he or she shouldn't have said. But so this is supposedly called Arkham Insurgency. And what we know about it so far is that the villains in it are possibly going to be the Court of Owls, which I think would be awesome. Dick Grayson Robin is going to be a thing in it, so that like a big thing. Going back. Because you can't go past Arkham Knight.
Well, it's going to be set in the same universe. Then.
Exactly.
The same video game universe. All right.
And it sounds like there will be other familiar villains: Riddler, Joker, Two-Face. We'll get Mark Hamill back, I'm sure, for it. And Batmobile. So the thing about the Batmobile is it made Arkham Knight cooler, but it also, I felt, and a lot of people felt, it was heavily relied upon in that game.
There's way too much of it.
I mean the winch.
I didn't like it.
Yeah. I mean, like if we could have had like maybe 50% of how much Batmobile was in there, it was a cool thing to add to the game, but it was just like too much added to it. So they've said what they're going to change about the Batmobile. If you've ever played that arcade game that you drive the Batmobile. Where you actually sit down and drive it.
I haven't actually. I didn't even know such a thing existed. That's cool.
Yeah. So it's like one where you're chasing down people and you're shooting like EMP devices at them and stuff like that.
Right. You can't shoot them with beanbag bullets.
Exactly.
Beanbags at them.
And then it'll have a strong build off a familiar engine. So Insurgency will have something in common with Arkham Knight. It utilizes a similar game engine. That means you'll be seeing lots of detail in the game this time around, as well as an explorable space that's about the size of the 3 islands from the game. That said, there will be some touch-ups, mainly when it comes to the interior of some of the buildings. Batman will be able to go inside and check things out, maybe do battle with opponents in terms of sneaking around, just like in the challenge rooms in previous games. And then Dick Grayson thing. And then improvements to combat. So the notes from former employee indicate that the game is going for more of a stealth Black Ops type thing, similar to what like those rooms in the Arkham games where you walk in and there's like 12 people with guns and you got to take them all out. Yeah. So it sounds cool. I don't know. What do you guys think about this?
I don't know. I'm still kind of digesting. I hadn't actually heard any of that yet, so that's interesting. I mean, a couple things, though. There's been so much talk about a Superman game, and Wonder Woman being so big right now. I wish maybe they'd use the same coolness and do that with another franchise and give us something other than a Rockstar Batman game. But that being said, I guess if they're going to make another one, this is an interesting way to do it, and at least it's more unique than the other ones. But I mean, I don't know if I'll particularly bite just because personally I just liked them less and less as the numbers
Origins really hurt the franchise. Yeah. I felt if they had just done Asylum, City, and Night, that would have been best. Yeah. Origins was just like a meh, really like a time buyer sort of thing.
And even I don't know, I wasn't crazy about the 3 islands in Night.
I felt like it was just too big of a space. Yeah, and it wasn't detailed enough.
It was I think geared towards the Batmobile.
Yeah,
of course, and it added to what I disliked about the game, I guess. So
I felt it would have been cooler if you had just done like the size of Arkham City and confined it to that and made it a little more detailed of a place. I will say I would love to see a Wonder Woman or a Superman game. However, I feel like Batman is one of the only open world superhero games that's ever been successful and good. And I think that it would really be hard to take that format and apply it to a Wonder Woman or a Superman game just because their worlds are so much bigger than Batman's. Like, Batman's world is... Maybe with Wonder Woman you could do a smaller world, but with Superman you would have to do literally almost the entire planet, I feel
Well, there'd have to be an invisible wall against the city, I guess, that you just... can't fly past. I guess I don't know, but clearly the new Spider-Man game is getting rave reviews. So
is it?
There's ways to maybe adapt, and make it work. But
one thing I was thinking is like a way that they could possibly go to maybe change things up, but also utilize the same format is do like a Batgirl game or a Batwoman game or a Bat Family game where you can still utilize kind of the same cookie cutter template, but put a different spin on it, so it's not the same old bat. Because it does feel like you're playing the same game every time. It's like every game I play, it's always the same villains, it's always the same gameplay. So I don't know. I mean, with Wonder Woman, it's like I don't know where you would set that. You couldn't set it in the Themyscira, obviously, because there's not much.
It could start there. It could be. I could see that being like a Uncharted or Tomb Raider,
a linear
type
story,
thing, a little more linear, maybe. But
I could see that. I think if you did go Superman or Wonder Woman, you would have to do linear versus open world because open world for those two, they can go anywhere and do anything, so it's just so big.
Right.
So, what do you think about this?
So my thoughts on it, like I get Batman because you can upgrade his equipment, and I can't really think of Superman and Wonder Woman. Their stuff they have is so concrete,
it's natural, right?
And a part of them that you can't really upgrade it. So, and that's a huge part of this game is like gaining points.
That RPG element of like inventory management, upgrading your players, stuff like that. Yeah,
like I would love to see Wonder Woman. Superman's kind of boring to me. Like laser eyes and flying. Like I can't really. Wonder Woman's a little cool because she's a little bit more rooted in Earth, but I don't know. And then Mark Hamill had stated that the only way he'd ever come back as Joker if they did Killing Joke, and he did that. So I don't think he wants to be Joker anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he made it. He's long time ago. He's like, the only way I'll ever come back is if they do Killing Joke.
And they did that.
Yeah.
So, wow. Okay. Well, we spent a lot of time on that discussion, but I was just curious to see what y'all thought of it.
That's pretty big news. I didn't know.
Nothing would warm my heart more than seeing them expand the DC universe past Batman in the terms of video games and be successful at that. I just, there's not much out there for superhero video games.
Cool.
Injustice. But, and just one other thing I'll just touch on Injustice really quick, because that does remind me. We get Starfire next month in DLC, so woo-woo, that makes me happy.
Yeah, and Bizarro, right?
And they just teased Bizarro, so I can't even believe that. Can you even imagine if we get an Artemis skin for, Wonder Woman?
God,
or something
cool
like
that? That would be amazing.
I would all of a sudden just love that game again.
I know. I still do love it. I mean, if
I need to play. When Starfire comes out, I'll play it again. But there's just so many games right now and a lot of betas this weekend. And I've been,
there's a lot for sure. You ever see my activity on there? I'm always on Injustice. I mean, it's the thing I can do if I wake up 30 extra minutes early before work. I can just sit there and play it for 30 minutes. Right. It's very short. So we get a nice. I don't normally read Facebook comments and stuff like that, but we did get a nice comment from a guy on Facebook. I already told you about it. I think I told you about it too. But guy Timothy Wilson got on Facebook. He said, "You guys are great. I listen to you guys all the time at work and at home. Keep it up." Huge Noah fan as well. He's very unique. Maybe you can do a recap episode about what you guys thought of the Sinestro Wars and the Blackest Night story arc. So, Noah fan. That's pretty
thanks,
cool.
Dude. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Now the pressure's on to make sure I have at least one creative thing each week.
We need to make Noah shirts.
Team Noah.
Right. Yeah.
What will he do this week?
That's why I'm always sitting inside of mediocrity, is just so I can not get recognition
I'm scared I'm going to run out of ideas. Then But I'm bored though. We should try to set up a Blackest Night thing. I've got the whole set of it. And that's definitely one of my favorite crossover events of all time. So we'll try to see if we can make that happen at some point. I mean, it might be a couple months down the road, but we'll see what we can do.
It might be next week.
Or it might be next week,
yeah, because we have a short week next week. So maybe next week we could do Blackest Night.
That'd be fun. Yep.
We're going to talk about it. No promises yet. But I think normally that stuff we try and make only available to our patrons, which I haven't talked about yet, but we do have a Patreon page where you can help us keep the mics on. That is, people can stop complaining about me saying keep the lights on. I'll say keep the mics on. that is patreon.com/nerdchurchradio. And, we do like bonus content for people. Like if we review a movie on a podcast or whatever, we're starting to get better about this. We are busy, so sometimes we don't do it. But when we do, we put it on the Patreon page. So, but I think the Darkest Night thing, since someone requested, or Blackest Night thing, since someone requested it, we'll probably make it available to everyone. So that is enough of that, and we will talk about some comic books. All right, so this week we are going to start things off with Noah's favorite character ever, and that is Wonder Woman number 27. Take it away.
Right. We've got The Heart of the Amazon Part 2, story by Shea Fontana, and art by Mirka Andolfo. I'm going to try to make this one quick because I've got some physics of superheroes to discuss with you guys.
Oh, God. I know, man.
So just to quick rundown, pretty much in the first issue, nothing happened other than Diana attends the wedding of Etta Candy's brother with her and finds a bomb. So we open up with just seconds left on the bomb timer. Diana leaps on top of the bomb, and it goes off, and she saves everybody from the blast of the bomb. Yet the building still falls down. She managed to evacuate everybody, but of course, Etta Candy's the only one that's hurt. Since the hospital is conveniently too far away, she takes her to this Mega Ultra Tech, which is where this kind of crazy Dr. Crawford works. And as we kind of suspected, Dr. Crawford's a bad guy, and she uses a glove lined with needles to sedate Wonder Woman. And when Wonder Woman wakes up, Dr. Crawford spliced her Amazonian DNA with her human DNA, and Wonder Woman uses her lasso to void the Amazon DNA. I think that was how it was worked.
Yeah.
But then before Diana can take her into custody, she injects herself with poison and dies. And next, the hunt begins.
When I was editing your review, I was laughing so hard.
It just makes no sense.
I struggled, okay, if you didn't notice. All right, let's take it step by step. All right, Rucka kind of had me wondering, because there was that one scene where somebody threw a grenade into the mall, and Diana leaps in and covers it with her hands, and it goes off. And, she's godlike. I can see maybe your hands are tougher than other parts, and maybe it was wounded, but she heals quickly. Right, it's connected to her bracelets. I mean, maybe her bracelets were over it a little bit, type thing. But you just don't cover yourself with a bomb and not get shrapnel, or if you're subject to projectiles.
I mean, she just got shot like 5 issues ago.
Exactly. I mean, it's been established projectiles can go through her, and that's what a bomb is. I mean, it produces projectiles and explosion, and then so she covers the bomb and saves everybody's life. Mm-hmm. But the building still collapses, and it's like, so did it explode or did it not?
So were there two bombs or multiple bombs or something?
No, it was one.
No,
it ripped her clothes.
It ripped her clothes, right. And then the other thing I thought was okay, Noah, try to make this work. Her clothes are all torn afterwards. She's got the Wonder Woman outfit on underneath. So okay, well maybe she covered it with the armor part. And it just, the armor was able to absorb the shrapnel damage and didn't actually go through her. So that's honestly the best working theory I have, folks, and it's what I'm going with.
Sure.
But then we get the fact that the Dr. Crawford has all these little needles lined on her arms.
And they can penetrate her skin.
They poke her skin.
Well, okay, I'm going to play devil's advocate on that one.
I mean, clearly that kind of kin, because the bullets and stuff.
Maybe the doctor is, smart enough to develop needles that can break the skin of a god.
She talked about it, that she,
she's been
she developed
a
poison or something that can
knock her out. But yeah,
I don't think that level of thought went into this, but I'm just trying to.
Right. No, I know it all just kind of snowballed for me because when she, I kept trying to think of the name. I should look it up. What do we call it when you leap onto a grenade to save your friend?
Fall on the grenade.
I want to say there's a cooler name for it, but maybe there just wasn't. But
I mean, that's what guys say. I think sometimes.
The derogatory term when
it's like you date the ugly girl so your friend can date the pretty girl or something. I don't know.
I know. Yeah. But so then the whole splicing the DNA with Amazonian DNA, I was. Just I don't know, it just didn't quite do it for me. But what made it worse was it the lasso undid all of it, and I just I don't know.
This is like the equivalent of like in the Amazing Spider-Man 2, where his friend Harry is like, I need Spider-Man's blood so I can inject it into myself and not be sick again.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Like,
Right.
dude, you have like scientists working for you right now. How do you not know that wouldn't work? Like,
The best way I could think about this is kids would easily believe it.
Well, and that's just it. I said in the written review that I did online, how I kind of like summed it up was that it seems really written and geared towards the crowd that would watch DC superhero girls. And that's bad, but I just think there is a DC superhero girls comic book, so read that. Don't make Wonder Woman that. I don't know. I guess all in all, I debated whether to give it a blessing or put it in purgatory.
Well, we got a rating system.
We got a rating system.
Yeah, let me play that real quick. Sorry, hold on.
If a comic book is bad, we rate it as blasphemy. If the book is good, we give our blessing. If the book is not bad, not good, but just kind of meh, we rate it as stuck in purgatory. If the book is great, we rate it as holy. And if a comic book exceeds all standards of awesomeness, we rate that book as salvation.
All right, there we go. So, that being said, I really debated whether it was stuck in purgatory, whether it still gets a blessing. And I decided, since it's just the second issue in with her, it gets a blessing this time. But we're on a slippery slope here, folks. And I kind of think of, since we're in Greek, let's say Sisyphus. We're on a slippery slope Sisyphus, because he was the guy that pushed the rock up the hill, but it kept tumbling down for eternity. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, what did you guys think?
What about you, Ariel?
I actually gave it a salvation.
What?
No, I'm totally kidding. I gave it a purgatory.
Damn it, you beat me to
I knew
it.
there was no way.
I was going to
Really?
say that.
Oh
I
my
swear to
gosh.
God, I was going to say that.
Oh, I couldn't even finish it. I
Really?
didn't finish 3 pages because I was like, no, I can't. I love her too much to let the story be a part of my brain.
I honestly, man, I would give it a salvation just because of how stupid and ridiculous it is. I don't know though. Like in reality, yeah, it's probably like a purgatory or a blessing.
Horrible.
It's not a very good comic, but at the same time,
I mean, it could be worse, because I keep thinking back to that Steve Trevor thing where she kept talking about fighting a phallus monster, and I cringe every time because that is just so creepy and icky, and it makes my skin crawl. So this is at least, doesn't make my skin completely crawl. And she tried to establish a strong female villain for Wonder Woman, even though it didn't exactly work. But, hey, girl power, so.
Yeah. I love this book in the same way that I loved the first Evil Dead movie. Is like they didn't intend it to be as bad as it was. It just was that bad, and it's so laughable.
Yeah.
It's just like she didn't intend this to be funny, but I was laughing so hard while I was reading it because it's just so stupid.
Yeah.
Like the fact that you're not an Amazon isn't true, so my lasso will break that truth. It's like, well, that's a matter of... what? That doesn't make sense. Like, she's not actually telling a lie, and the lasso really only reveals the truth. It doesn't, take action to,
Right.
So if someone... I don't know. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, that's not how the lasso is supposed to work.
And you kind of would have to imply that Amazonian DNA is magical in some sort, which I guess it could be, but still, I don't know. Yeah. No.
And, I didn't really like the way it was drawn much either. Like, I didn't like the way the scientist lady was drawn. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
really cartoony.
Yeah, it's very, very much a kid's book, and I don't know. That's what it was. What do you think of this chick dressed in all Robin colors at the end who's about to go after Wonder
I'm not
Woman?
sure who. I don't have a clue. Honestly, I'm not all that excited about it. If they somehow connect it to a pre-existing character or something like that, I could get excited, but all I'm thinking is, here's another Dr. Crawford for her to fight,
Yeah, well, and there's going to be, multiple people after her, it sounds like, so, yeah, I don't know. I mean, the hunt begins, it sounds like there's a hit wanted.
It is wanted dead or alive.
Yeah. And she looks a little bit like Manhunter, actually, and we've had Kate, what's her name, introduced in that book, so that has slight potential, but I doubt it's her. We couldn't be so lucky.
Yeah. All right, well, we'll wash our hands of this one and go off to another ridiculous book, which I loved but Ariel hated. That is Batgirl number 13, and the creative team on this one is Larson, Miranda, and De La Cruz. So, Batgirl starts off this issue by saving a little girl from some bullets. Watch your head, there's a mic there. After Batgirl scares... Yeah, not bullets, bullies. So Batgirl starts off this issue by saving a little girl from some bullies. After Batgirl scares off the bullies, she realizes this girl is looking for a lost puppy. Apparently, this kid was tracking the puppy on some celebrity dog app, which is hilarious to me in itself. Weird millennial stuff, I guess.
Right.
Anyway, the dog gets found, and Batgirl goes to take the little girl home. And, you know, this interaction was kind of fun because it was like the little girl knew Batgirl, and, you know, she was arguing with Batgirl about how she wanted to be on an adventure, and Batgirl was like, you know, telling her how Barbara Gordon, you know, is cool, and she's like, oh, you know Barbara Gordon? Oh, Barbara's so cool now, and it's just like, you know, this Babs teaches this girl in an inner city school or whatever, so that was cool. So on the way home, they see Catwoman, and Batgirl thinks it's a good idea to strap the little kid to her back and follow Catwoman. Not dangerous at all. Good job, Batgirl. Turns out Catwoman has lost her cat, so Batgirl and this little girl are going to help Catwoman find the cat and this dog that's missing, apparently, although I thought they found the dog at the beginning of the issue, but maybe that was a separate dog. I don't know. Anyway, where was I? So they track the lost cat and dog to a creepy building, and it turns out some wacky leopard print clad villain named Velvet Tiger is a cat and dog napping all the pets in Burnside. So, you know, that's a thing, I guess. Have you ever heard of this villain before?
Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah,
okay.
she's real. She's legacy.
Oh, really?
One of those forgotten ones. I don't know much about her other than
it's like Condiment King or
real
something.
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So there's a bit of a skirmish when Velvet Tiger releases her kittens, which are actually humans dressed as kittens, on Batgirl and Catwoman, but the dynamic duo win out in the end. Catwoman makes it away with her kitten, and Batgirl gets the little girl home safely, and we're picking things up next time in a whole new story arc with Babs and Dick Grayson. So, what did you guys think of this issue?
I liked it a lot.
I'll
go so far as to say I did love it.
Yeah.
How could I not? They're rescuing puppies and kitties, and it's got Batgirl and Catwoman and Batgirl's fan, and the art was a step up from kind of the cartoony previous of Batgirl. It was still very...
It was actually pretty impressive artwork.
It was very. When Catwoman moved, and the what do you call it? The the shadow, not the shadow, but the trace, like it.
Yep.
You know. Yeah. And it was just I loved it a lot.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love the celebrity dog or pet tracking thing. It's such a like weird, like silly comic booky thing to me.
Right.
I mean, this is just the silliest, funnest issue I've read in a long time, man. It just made me laugh and smile, and it was cute.
And I have a super soft spot for any time like Batgirl teams up with Catwoman or Poison Ivy, or anytime you get the good girl bad girl team up like that for the Gothams, it makes me happy.
Well, and I love the villain too. She's just such a retro looking.
I can't wait.
She looks like the retro Poison Ivy. You know, it's just such a psychedelic, silly like 70s type thing to do. That I don't know, man. It's just like it's dumb and it's silly, but it's like that's comic books to me. I mean, that's like they're lighthearted and fun.
Yeah, so to see her at the end was like when and on Harley Quinn, you all of a sudden saw Clock King and Sportsmaster. You're like, oh, sweet, bring it back.
It's great. Yeah. So let's hear the opposite end of the spectrum.
Here we go.
Why did you not like this one?
I was so pained throughout this whole book. First of all, I thought it was Cruella de Vil at the end. When they release all the dogs and the dogs attack her, I'm like, I'm pretty sure I've seen that when I was like 5 years old in a movie.
Oh, you mean all the people dressed as cats?
No, at the very end, all the... Okay. And I don't know, Catwoman trying to find a celebrity cat or whatever, and oh my gosh, I don't know. I really hate millennial stuff.
You are a millennial.
I know, but I hate all the basic stuff that we're freaking
you
labeled
posted
with.
pictures of yourself with the Snapchat dog face before.
I haven't posted. I sent them to you.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
Thanks for putting my private life out there.
Whatever.
You use the dog filter. You're a millennial.
Oh, God.
Hey, I've used those filters, too, before.
Next issue, she's going to grab a pumpkin latte and,
well, probably.
buy some glasses that she doesn't really need. Oh, God.
And I thought one thing that was funny was, they showed, a picture of the dog tracking app.
Yeah.
And it's Instagram, but for pets. You know, it's kind of funny. It's like, and it's actually kind of hilarious because like people make Instagrams for their cats. Like a Macklemore lyric is like, I made an Instagram for my cat, and my cat's got more followers than you, or something. Like it's just that type of thing that's hilarious.
And then all the bullies are kids, like little kids, like 10 years old. Where are their parents? Like that the whole time I'm thinking, where are these children's parents, and why are their parents letting them dress like this?
Yeah, they're hoodlums.
They're hoodlums, man. They're little
full of them.
Yeah, they're they're rough kids.
They'd be like, get your butt back in here and wipe off that crap from your face.
Yeah, they got like mohawks and stuff. I don't know. It cracks me up.
I don't like hipster Batgirl.
Yeah, I don't think this was necessarily like the hipster. I mean, I'm the first to like call out and dislike the social media millennial idiot Batgirl, but I thought this was like kind of like the fun-loving, smart. I don't know. Like
this was definitely a pivot. I felt from what has kind of been obviously the trend in Batgirl, but you can still obviously tell it's written by Hope Larson. You know, I mean, you still got that millennial aspect to it, but it was at least a little refreshing for you know those of us who kind of. Well, a little spice in it, but
I love Batgirl. She's my favorite DC character. I love this issue. I'm giving it a salvation. I loved it. I thought it was perfect for me. So
very cool.
Yeah.
Yep. I didn't go quite that far, but it was a solid holy for me. I did love it.
The only thing keeping it out of purgatory for me is the art, because the art was good. That's the only thing.
Okay.
So it squeaks through with the blessing?
Yes.
And like, the salvation for me is just because I have such a soft spot for Babs. You know, I love that character. So, but I think, in all fairness, if you're not a huge Batgirl fan, it's probably a holy. So, yeah, all right, cool. We will move things on to All-Star Batman number 12.
Yes, I've got this one, the story. Yay!
I'm sorry.
I joked. I was like, it was the Russian roulette of of comic books, and it is my turn for the bullet. So we got the story by Scott Snyder, and the art is by Raphael Albuquerque. This is the first Ally Part 3. I had to kind of look up a synopsis of what's happened so far because it's really kind of hard to tell.
Yeah, I read Part 1. I didn't read Part 2, and then I read this one.
Yeah, so from what I can tell, previously in All-Star Batman, Bruce goes to Miami because he's after the Genesis engine, which is a machine capable of cloning cells, and it's gone up for auction on the black market. Scott Snyder gives us a glimpse into Alfred's past in the previous issues, and we find out it's pretty dark. And from what I can tell, the question's been set up, is Alfred responsible for the creation of the Dark Knight? So, this is a pretty deep issue from a deep series, and it's kind of difficult to figure out what's going on. I got to be honest, without a direct understanding of what happened in the last issue. But nevertheless, the Genesis engine is a driving force behind what Batman's motivations are in this issue, and the intricate plotline involving the Black and Whites, which is actually pretty cool. That's a group of villains that consists of the Penguin, the Black Knight, and the Great White. And they're called the Black and Whites.
Oh, cool.
And they rescue Batman because they think he's Hush, pretending to be Batman.
Oh,
do you follow?
Yep. Which is ironic.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You're actually making more sense of it than when I read it.
That's what we do.
Yeah, exactly. So now I'm going to take a cue from Ariel and say, meanwhile, Alfred continues to be a major player in the story as well. We get to see some similarities between Bruce and Alfred. Alfred worked for is it MI5 or M15? MI5, isn't it?
MI5, I think, but I'm not sure.
But anyway, Mission Impossible 5. Maybe it is M15. I don't know. Anyway, some type of British Secret Service agency under someone who mentored him and pushed him in the same way Alfred pushed Bruce. It's an interesting parallel, and it helps put Alfred's motivations behind serving Bruce into a perspective I hadn't really thought of before. So, meanwhile, again, cut back to Batman. He helped save some people. I'm not entirely sure if they're on a boat or on a submarine, but there's a submarine involved. And he gets on the loudspeaker and says, "Call me Captain Batman," and then gets rescued by mermaids with scuba masks.
It is MI5, by the way.
MI5, okay.
Yep.
So I obviously found all that confusing if you couldn't tell. One, I think it's really weird that Batman says, "Call me Captain Batman."
Yeah,
that was like, okay.
And the mermaids with scuba masks threw me. All I can think of is that they're henchwomen of the Black and Whites that they got to work for them. Otherwise, why would mermaids need scuba gear? I just don't understand. And also, I know Scott Snyder's trying to make like a pirate connection through all this somehow. It starts out with Bruce talking about pirate stories, and then you just are supposed to be getting these pirate parallels, but it's all so layered, man. It is hard.
If you're trying to get pirates in there, why not bring in like Aqualad or something? You know,
right.
Like I don't know.
Tiger Shark.
You do have Tiger Shark, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I love when they're screaming, like, emojis, and then you just see the bat symbol and an exclamation mark when he's, like, attacking Tiger Shark.
Yep.
So you just picture me going, Batman!
Yep, pretty much. I didn't get the emoji speak either, other than Tiger Shark doesn't, like,
yeah, and there was
normally,
another
guess,
emoji too. Like when the guy died, it just showed like a grave and an RIP under it, like under his words.
Like
I was like,
saying I'm dead.
He died. I
don't know.
Anyway,
but the issue ends with Batman wondering if he's become the bad captain that led his crew to destruction as the world's being blown apart. So I don't know, man. This book is not for me. That's all I can say. It has highlights like the black and whites and the glimpses into Alfred's past, and once I like tried to dissect it. I found some fun things, like the Alfred and Bruce connection and maybe the parallels between Alfred's training and how he treated Bruce and all that. But, man, you should not have to dissect your comic books that much to understand what they're getting at. So
unless you're reading, like, Watchmen or something, I mean,
right.
something
and maybe he's wanting this to be a Watchmen-type book, and some people do love it, but it's I mean, for me, it was... I don't know. I kind of went back and forth between a purgatory and a blessing, and... Personally, it was purgatory, but I think I'm going to give it a blessing just because there are some Batman fans that might like it and dig the Alfred connections and stuff like that. But it was too much for me personally. So, what about you guys? Did anybody actually make it through the whole thing?
Yeah, Ariel, what are you
challenging?
I gave it a blasphemy because I don't want to think this hard when I'm reading comics, like especially DC comics. Maybe when I go into Image Comics, I kind of change my mindset and I'm ready for a deep story. Mm-hmm. And Batman's already like on the very basis, he's already a complicated guy. So to try to make the situation even more complicated, I do like the parallels between Alfred, but it gets so lost in the rest of the story that I can't get anything from it. So
I'm still at a blessing on it. I think like the only thing that saved it from a purgatory, first of all, the art alone saves it from a blasphemy for me because I think the art's on point. And
it's
looks really good.
Unique.
I also think that this is worlds better than the All-Star Batman we had like 5 issues ago. I mean, like it was really, really bad at first. Like the first 10 issues of this book were horrible. Man, I could, those issues with Poison Ivy and stuff, or Mr. Freeze, like the ones where there was like multiple storylines. It was so, and I wanted to like him so bad because A, I love Scott Snyder, B, I love Batman, and C, I love, the artwork and the concepts behind him, but it was just so hard to follow. The only thing that saved it from a purgatory for me was the Alfred stuff. And I love any time I learn more about that guy and what his past was like. So even though I had trouble following the whole book, I just took the little snippets of Alfred that I saw and took them for what they were, as like little mini stories about him. But either way, I don't really think this one's worth your money. I think you'd be better spent on Detective Comics or the Batman Tom King story even, which really has its issues right now anyway. But yeah, this isn't worth your money, especially it's ending soon too. I think they're only going up to like 15 issues or something, but
it is ending soon too. I'm not sure, but it's
right around 15.
Surprisingly, it got an overall rating on Comic Book Roundup of 8.0.
I know,
which makes me feel dumb.
Surprises me, but
well, yeah, but honestly, like the thing about Comic Book Roundup and those reviews, I guess, are. Hold on, let me just look really quick because I'm curious now.
Well, one thing is I do check because one thing I always want to know is how did I rate it compared to other people who are like supposed to be my peers in the review world or whatever, and I jumped right to Wonder Woman, the first one, and I found I was actually about right on for what most people thought, but there's still one person that gave it a 10 and said, the book's off to an exciting start, and that was it. And I'm like, what? You didn't even describe anything that happened. Did you read it? Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's the thing is like on Comic Book Roundup, it's going to average. So you're going to have your fair share of people that they only review 1 or 2 books a week or a month even, and they're giving it a 10 because they don't read 12, 13 books a week like we do. And then you're going to have your fair share of people that read as many books as we do and have been doing it for 10 years and are just sick of it. And they don't put up with anything. And they don't there's a lot of people out there that they've been doing this a long time, and it's hard to please them, and rightfully so. I mean, they've been reading comic books forever, and they've gone through some bad stuff. So I think that'll probably be what we're like in a few years. I mean, it's just like you really have to justify why you like something, and so I think you always average those two, and you end up a little bit higher than generally what the real consensus is or how good it is. I don't think this book deserves an 8.0 rating, and I think there's a lot of people that feel that way too. But anyway, we can move things on. Get on hopefully a little bit higher note. Batman Beyond number 10
by Jurgens, Chang, and Maiolo. Sorry, I'm
Poyolo.
Yeah. Marco. Flashback of Damien confronting his grandfather Ra's al Ghul and of him growing up and training. Back to the now, Bruce desperately tries to get Damien to put down the sword. I love these books because, the whole time Bruce is just on the sideline, stop.
Yeah, he's just a helpless old man.
And get off my lawn while you're at it.
Yeah, pretty much.
He really is that type of old person, too, the get off my lawn type.
And Damien, being Damien's I wouldn't kill him because he's not a threat to me. And throws the sword to the side. And Bruce confronts his son and sees the true reason is there's some hidden jealousy that Damien won't admit to. Because Terry was the son that Damien never will be, or was. Quietly in the snow, Terry comes to, and he's not happy that Damien considered him inferior. Damien and Terry go at it headstrong while a helpless old man Bruce begs for them to stop yet again. As Damien realizes that the suit is now in control, he brings out an old friend, Goliath, which that was really exciting. I love Goliath.
Always love to see that big red hairy beast.
But it's not a happy ending for Goliath, so maybe you don't want to read this. In Terry's defeat, we learn the truth behind Damien's disappearance. If you guys remember, people thought that the suit changed Damien's mindset, and that's why he joined. Turns out he just joined because he realized Ra's al Ghul's goals were his own, and he wanted to save the world. And there was an interesting thing where Batman's technology was actually bad, and Ra's al Ghul convinced Damien that to take down the technology would end up saving the world. And then he took it to a new extreme, where he's like, we need to kill most of the population to save the Earth.
Okay.
And then Terry jumps out of nowhere because he's killed Goliath, and now he's back for Damien.
Cool.
So I really like this book. I know there's a lot of kid books, not kid books, but immature, and I think I was kind of oh my god, I'm so sick of all these kid books.
Yeah, this was the one book I didn't read this week, so
I didn't give it a holy. That was good. Old Man Bruce cracks me up.
Yeah,
I wish he had a cane almost.
Right.
That would be awesome. Yeah.
It's really cool because Terry's I really like Terry, and after Damien, I have a hard time connecting to anyone. But he's a really cool guy. To see him do a 180 like this and have the suit take control of him so much, it really excites me to have someone that's so rooted and flesh him out in a whole different light. So it's a really good book, and Damien's a dick. I mean,
right.
Nothing new there.
Yep. Did you?
I honestly kind of read it pretty quick. I gave it a blessing, but I didn't invest a lot of time with it because it was finals week. So I wanted to take a look at it though, so at least I knew the art was very cool.
Yeah.
And
the art is
super,
really cool.
And it was a super sci-fi type thing, and it was a nice break from the Saturday morning cartoons that were books this week.
Yeah.
So
it was funny because they talk about the only way to save the Earth is to get rid of most of the population.
Yeah.
And I was thinking of that Office episode when Dwight's in a crowd. He's like, "Man, we really need a new plague."
Oh yeah. That's funny. All right, cool. Well, you got anything else on this one?
Nope. Read it.
All right, good deal. Well, we will move things on to our final book of the week, one that presented quite the controversy among comic book fans.
Yeah, it sure did raise a little bit of a stir.
Yeah, so Suicide Squad number 22.
Story by Rob Williams, art by Augustin Padilla. This is called Kill Your Darlings Part 2, I Escaped. Previously, what's been happening in Suicide Squad, Harley Quinn is the new leader, and her first mission is to take out Director Karla of the Russian Annihilation Brigade.
Yep.
As expected, things went downhill fast, as the Annihilation Brigade knew that the squad was coming and set up an ambush of their own. So the book opens on Amanda Waller again, the same thing as last week. When we last saw her, she was being held captive by Director Karla. He insists that they are cut from the same cloth, and together they would be a powerhouse able to take down all of the metahumans that threaten life on Earth. His answer? A superhuman hit squad to put all metahumans behind bars. Meanwhile, with only 4 seconds left on the bomb, the Suicide Squad seems as good as dead. When Killer Croc wouldn't try to wake the unconscious Enchantress, Harley orders Deadshot to put a bullet in Croc's head. Deadshot gladly obliges, but when the bullet strikes Croc, the Enchantress hears his screams, even in her unconsciousness, wakes up, and stops time. Well, that was psychotic Harley Quinn's plan all along. Use the trauma of Croc being shot to wake the Enchantress. Harley also knew that the Enchantress would pretty much want revenge on whoever just shot Croc, and right on cue, the Enchantress begins to painfully torture Deadshot, while Harley and Katana attempt to defuse the bomb and casually download the rest of the intel.
It's kind of a brilliant plan. I mean,
a little bit. It's certainly a little bit of a Hail Mary, but it worked. As the intel downloads, Harley makes a disturbing discovery. There is a spy in the Suicide Squad. Oh, and just so you know, Croc is fine. Thick skin and all.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I figured he would.
We all knew, right.
Yeah.
The book ends on another double cliffhanger. First, Captain Boomerang is the spy. The squad catches up to him, and Harley almost smashes him to death with her mallet, while Katana threatens to slice off his hands. Digger begs for his life, and for some reason, Harley decides not to kill him. Instead, the Enchantress teleports the crew out of there, leaving Boomerang alone to freeze to death in the Siberian frozen wasteland.
I really do wonder if he's going to die. I could see them killing him.
I could.
I couldn't see him killing Croc or Harley or Deadshot, but I think he's like probably the most expendable on the team.
See, I kind of thought Croc was expendable too, but I don't know, that's the fun of the Suicide Squad. Those trying to figure out who's expendable.
Yeah, it really is.
In my opinion, Quinn and Deadshot are the only two that are fully not expendable. Yeah. Just in my opinion.
You don't think the Sword Soul lady
Katana? I think she's definitely on the safe side.
She's a right man all the time.
Right.
And I think Emerald Empress really...
Enchantress.
Emerald Enchantress really supplies a lot of the comedy.
Yeah, Emerald Empress is the other character that has the Eye of Ekron.
Sorry,
We don't want to confuse our listeners.
Yeah. I think...
they're both green, though. That's
I think Enchantress really provides a lot of the comedy.
She is super funny.
Like, just like switching from like normal... chill graphic designer girl to like angry god. Like, it's just the funniest thing.
And like I said with Wonder Woman stories before, I dig the fish out of water thing, and totally. I like how they do it with Wonder Woman intelligently, but they just blow it out of the water with Enchantress because they can. She's that type of character that can just be like, beauty mortals, and just go on. So it's great.
It's great.
Did you guys sorry.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'll just finish the last sentence, because then the other cliffhanger, Amanda Waller, and this is what caused the internet to lose their you-know-what. Amanda Waller suddenly radios in a new mission to the Suicide Squad. Their job is now to apprehend the superhumans, Batman and Killer Frost. Next, the one who got away.
Metahumans. So technically, they are calling Batman a metahuman.
Yeah. But I've also read a reply from somebody from DC, and now I can't think of... I want to say
it was like the editor
or somebody that says Batman is not a metahuman. So maybe they just said that as because he's part of the League, or...
Well, they made another mistake, too. Did you guys see Martian Manhunter? He's in it. When they show the Justice League.
Oh, well, they say the superhumans, and they show a picture of Martian Manhunter. I mean, he could have been with them in the past. You don't know how old that picture is.
Video of, the Justice League fighting that they're watching live stream, and Martian Manhunter is in there.
Are you sure that's live stream video and not just a photo used for reference?
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. Either way, though, that's a good point, because... I mean, as far as Rebirth is concerned...
We haven't seen him.
He is just MIA. I mean, it kind of does make no sense for him to show up in anything, because we haven't seen him since New 52.
Especially so little. I kind of think the artists, when they think of Justice League, they just think of him and threw him in. Yeah. Especially with the metahuman mistake. It's
Right. Good eye on that. Yeah. I didn't catch that.
Also, Scott Snyder issued a reply to this. He said not to speak for Suicide Squad, but Batman is not meta. He gets powers for stories like Darkseid War, but he's never been meta in nature. Yeah.
So I think we're going to see a JLA crossover.
I wonder if the writer of this maybe got in any hot water.
There's
editors, right?
Yeah, well, that's true. Why didn't the editor catch that? But like I said, maybe the world thinks that since he's always everywhere at once and hangs out with metahumans that he is, and they're just saying Batman's a metahuman, but doesn't Waller know he's Bruce Wayne?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She does.
Oh, yeah.
So that doesn't make sense either. Scratch that.
Hal Jordan did think he was a vampire at one point.
Right. That's why
I really do think, like, this has generated such a buzz that at the beginning of the next issue, they're going to have some of the team being like, Batman's not a metahuman, and Waller will say, well, yeah, but he's basically a metahuman. He's so talented. Or they're going to squash this right away because they don't want any confusion on that.
But it's kind of silly because the whole point of this is that the other guy, I forget his name, the other guy that kidnapped Waller, was talking about how the only way to save the Earth is to get rid of all the metahumans.
Direct to Carla, right. Yeah.
So it would make more sense for them to go after an actual like Superman.
Superman, exactly.
Yeah. I feel like any time your first threat is going to be Superman.
Yeah.
I feel like they've had a really rough time with Kryptonians.
They have. So. But, that's the other thing, too, is we have no idea what Amanda Waller's true motivations are behind this.
Yeah.
Because it could actually be a red herring, for all we know, and she could be wanting them for a completely different thing.
She has a hatred for, I don't know if you've been reading JLA, but there was like 2 or 3 issues where Amanda hates Killer Frost because she tried keeping her in jail.
Right, yep.
And Killer Frost,
they got her
Batman
out.
Batman
got her out, yeah.
Cool. So what did you think of this issue, though?
I loved it. I love all the backstabbing and double crossing that's going on now, and we're finally up to not knowing what is going to happen next. And I really like seeing the crazy murderous side of Harley Quinn. We forget that she's a bad guy a lot of times, and we get to see the cutesy book, where she's cutesy and all that stuff, which is good too. I'm glad that there's enough of her to go around for everybody. But I kind of dig the crazy murder Suicide Squad Harley. So I loved it, and I gave it a holy. Very strong. Art was great. And,
I gave it a holy as well. I really loved the art on the part where Deadshot's just getting torn apart, and he just keeps screaming,
God, help me, somebody!
And they're just talking, whatever, just chilling out. So I don't know. This book has pleasantly surprised me ever since I picked it back up. I with the whole what event was it where we started reading?
I think it's General Zod.
Oh, yeah.
The Superman and General Zod thing? Or?
No, it was right after that. I forget what happened, but it was something we started I started
when
reading.
Rick Flag died, that was, to me, what
Drew.
all of a sudden, forked the book into a direction that's like now fun and exciting and not predictable, because it was just so predictable before.
Yeah. So ever since that, this is, again, one of the first books I read every week. I always enjoy it a lot, so I go.
This is the only one I liked out of our whole books, yeah. I was really kind of sick of the other ones.
So what did you rate it?
I gave it a holy, because this is the second time I've been like, damn, Harley.
Right.
Yeah.
How many weeks can you make me say that?
Yeah. No, it's a good thing. So, all right, cool. That's all we got for you guys this week. As I said before, we got a Patreon. You can donate to us at patreon.com/nerdchurchradio. Or if you just want to do a one-time donation, you can send it to us on PayPal, nerdchurchradio@gmail.com. Anything helps. If you want to find us on social media, I am at nerdchurchradio everywhere. Or you can find me personally on Twitter at IndieComicBen. Where can we find you, Noah?
You can check me out on most social media sites at Noah O'Toole.
And Ariel.
Ariel the Oracle on Twitter.
Beautiful, and that's all we got for you guys this week. Have a good one.
Bye.
Later.